Chapter 11. Hunger. That's pretty much all the Spider-Man had to say. Hunger. It was hungry. It wanted to hunt. It wanted to kill. It wanted to eat a few nice juicy bugs. It was hungry. Did I mention hunger? And I didn't care what kind of bug. It could be beetles, grasshoppers, crickets, pygmy, mantis. The spider didn't care. It ruled the world of bugs. It was the bugs of a lioness to a herd of antelopes. A shark among guppies. They could run, but they couldn't hide. Motion. Something moved left or right across my field of vision. I was after like a dog after a rabbit. I had legs powered up and I blew across the forest like a drag racer firing out of starting gates. The world was weird in my 8 spider eyes. I saw colors no human ever saw. It was like when you messed with the color and tint knobs on TV. Things that should have been brown were blue and green was red or whatever. But some angles the pictures weren't as clear, but a second later everything was shattered to bits and I watched a million tiny monitors at once. I could never make any sense of it. But most of what I saw was movement. I was very interested in movement. My eyes and every hair in my disgusting little body was spotting movement. And when the right thing moved, my body just answered on its own. It was a rush, they say, in my dad's day. A charge, like tapping a main pipeline of adrenaline. It was electric. Nuclear. I blew across those pine needles and fallen leaves and fallen patches of dirt and felt like I was moving. I kept that moving bug in my field of vision and knew what I was doing. I mean, I knew I was Marco, a human morph, and I knew I didn't really want to eat that bug, but man, I was too jazzed to stop. The prey was on running and I was the predator. I'd evolved millions of years to do exactly this. When Tyrannosaurus Rex is still millions of years away from me and thinking about evolving, tiny arachnid hunters were killing and eating. The entire history of Homo sapiens from caveman to soccer mom was a blip in the history of spiders. I was death on 8 legs. It was a beetle. That's what I was chasing, a big old beater much bigger than I was, larger and slower. He grew in my distorted vision. He grew and grew as I powered on. I wish you could explain why I kept on with the hunt. Sometimes the old brain takes over and sort of overwhelms you. But that wasn't happening. I wasn't overwhelmed. I was just into it. A last burst of speed. My front legs touched the beetle. He dodged left, but much too slow. I clambered right up on his back and positioned my jaws with deadly fangs and... Marco, what are you doing? It was Axe. I scampered down at the beetle thinking they were caught doing something wrong. The beetle ran on, relieved to escape, if beetles can feel relief. Nothing, I just letting the spider be a spider. I thought it was a pretty good answer. I guess instincts kind of carried me away. Marco, I morphed the exact same spider. I felt a wave of guilt and shame suddenly well up inside me. Actually, just a cockroach. Who cares? Come on, we have a job to do. Sometimes humans worry me, Axe said. I didn't ask him what he meant. Why had I gotten so into the hunt? Why hadn't I resisted the urge? Lashed on the rage, I fell on the top of Tom. Was that it? I think it's this way, Axe said. He took the lead and saw him moving in front of me, a spider scurrying up, seeing 8 legs. I fell in behind him. I was calm now. The insane rush was over. Now spider's just a tool I was using. But then suddenly from the sky, something fell toward me. It lay right between Axe and me, a grasshopper 3 or 4 times our size, like an elephant. Then, thwack! It fired its flying legs and shot in the air. It disappeared as quickly as it arrived. We raced through the forest, covering the 200 feet between us and the edge of the party. I sensed the nearness of humans. I heard vibrations that might have been speech, but it was too garbled to make any sense out of. Hey Marco, Axe, you guys around? It was Jake's soft-speak voice. Yes, Prince Jake, Axe answered. We are here. We're not pretty, but we're here, I added. Cool, I'm not exactly handsome myself and fly more. Haven't found our boy Eric yet. Same massive and slow appeared in the air above me. I scampered sideways, and I slowed to a loud woof. A human foot, a shoe, Nike. You know, I was worried something might step on me, I said, but humans are so slow. Be careful anyway, Jake said. Let me know if you find Eric. I don't know how I'm supposed to recognize him, I complained. These spider eyes aren't good at seeing distances, and human heads seem way up in the clouds when I'm crawling. But Axe and I went on, skittering swiftly through a forest of huge slow-moving legs and feet. And then right in front of me I saw it. It looked like a bare human foot, except I could see through the skin, through the toenails. With 8 strange assorted spiders, I could see through the electric haze of the hologram. I saw what was beneath the hologram. I saw like interlocking plates of steel and ivory. The foot had no toes. In fact, it wasn't shaped like a human foot, more like a paw. It was not human, and everything my tinkling, buzzing, hyper-spider senses told me it was not alive. Axe? Yes, I see it. What is it? I do not know. It looks like a machine almost, like it's made out of metal. Yes, Axe said. I think your friend Eric may be an android. And there's the title drop, everyone. Chapter 12. An android? Yes, a robot. A machine made to seem like a life form, Axe says, if it was the most common idea in the world. Well, it feels common to me, personally, but, I mean, I've seen Dragon Ball Z. I know what an android is, even if they do use the word wrong. I did also read a lot of sci-fi growing up, so maybe it doesn't seem so weird to me. Plus, this was the 90s, so maybe it was weirder back then. Is this like something you know about, Axe? I asked. Look at a thing called Eric. This is not a type of android I know. It is not Andalite. I don't think it's Eric. I don't know who or what it is. Cananoid? That... Yeah, but since it has paws, that would make sense as well, yes. Technically, android refers to something humanoid, though it clearly must have a humanoid shape, or then again, depending on the sort of hologram projecting, maybe it doesn't. My spy eyes could see the foot and most of the way up the leg. I was looking at a double exposure photograph. It was the outward appearance of a human leg and way up shorts, but beneath that there was a machine that seemed like steel and ivory. It was thousands of interlocking plates like a chainmail armor knights used to wear. Each individual link was roughly triangular. The ivory segments were a little larger and the segments looked like steel. The robot, android, whatever, was smaller than a human Eric, but like something that was oddly constructed, like a stretched-out dog leg than human leg. The robot leg, along with holographic projection of a human foot, lifted off as Eric went on his way. Jake, I called. Yeah, I think I see your guy. There's this person. It's hard to see a place and see a person's kind of shimmering. There's something hidden underneath all the shimmering light. That's him, I confirmed. Wait a minute, there's another one. What? Another one of them, Jake answered. I just buzzed right by and there's two of these things. Okay, now these things have gotten, I started to say, flap, flap, flap. A hurricane of wind, the ground suddenly sort of exploded. Two big talon feet lifted and landed in the dirt. I showered my head and I ran. Two big black triangles came down from the sky above me and they dug in just in front, just behind me. Like a power shell, two triangles close together and I was inside. I was in darkness. Total darkness. Some big muscular thing was crushing me, squeezing me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't see us being squeezed and pummeled. And then I realized I was being swallowed. I yelled. There are two kinds of thought speak, private which like whispering, and public which was like yelling. And I was yelling! Every person in your league heard me. No humans who probably wondered what was that, and controllers who knew it was thought speak, but I didn't care. I was being swallowed. Marco, Jake yelled, what happened? Marco, everyone can hear you, Axe warned. I tried to control my panic. I was being swallowed, but I wasn't dead. Something grabbed me. I made thought speak of Jake and accidentally. I think it was a bird, Axe said. I saw it, very big and black. It flew off. My spiral legs were being crushed against my side. Two were broken. The hairs over my body were blind. My eyes were blind. There wasn't enough air for my spiral body to live on. I was being forced down to gull of a bird flying through the air and seconds away from suffocating. Tobias, I cried desperately, can you hear me? Marco, what's happening? He answered, despite coming far. A bird ate me. Blackbird. We're flying. Can you see? Help! Marco, there's dozens of big crows flying. I can't tell which one. I felt my mind begin to fade. The spire was dying. What happened when the spider died, I wondered, as my attention drifted away. What happened to the big wad of Marco in Z-space? The thought did it. I was out of here. Morph out. I tried to picture a mental image of myself. A mental picture of the human named Marco. It was all confused. My mind was dying as it sank and called up thousands of images. Images of wolves and ants and gorillas. Images of all the animals I'd been, all the minds I lived in. I couldn't grab a human image and hold on to it. But then, below my disintegrating consciousness came the image of my mother. I guess that's not a surprise. They say dying soldiers on the battlefield call out to their mothers with their dying breaths. I guess that's what I was doing too, but this is my real mother. The way she had been when she was truly alive. Not the controller known as Visitor 1, but my real mom. She was smiling at me. She was much taller than me, but she bent down to pick me up. I flew up in the air up into her face, and she kissed me. You're going to be so cute. You're going to be so cute, she said. My little Marco. Marco, the human boy. I saw so clearly that I was looking for the eyes of the little toddler I'd been. Not the Animorph Marco, but the little kid Marco, and suddenly the pressure was growing. Growing. I was squeezed from all sides. I felt the muscle tensing or straining, and then the muscle weakened and quivered. A ripping, tearing sound, and there was light. Light. I was demorphing and growing. I had burst through the throat of the crow, and now I was falling. Marco, Tobias yelled. My distorted vision showed me the crow falling alongside me. I was falling for the air in a vile mix of crippled spire and emerging human. The size of a baseball, I guess, and getting bigger. I didn't even think what I looked like. I know it wasn't very pretty. Wham! I hit the ground and I bounced. I hit the ground again. I lay there not knowing where I was or what I was, but I knew one thing for sure. I was going to demorph. I was getting out of that morph. If I had a mouth, I would have started screaming and never stopped. My mouth reappeared later. Before my legs withered and disappeared, my main legs became human arms and legs, my tiny claws became toes, my fangs and jaws became teeth and lips. My 8 spire eyes shut down one to the other, leaving only 2, and slowly those 2 eyes became fully human. I looked up for human eyes at the blue sky, at the high branches of trees looming above me, and then I looked at the face of my former schoolmate, Eric. Eric the android. Chapter 13. Marco, Eric said, didn't you used to have longer hair? The hair thing again. Anyway, human eyes are completely 100% human. I knew it wasn't true, but even so, it was almost impossible to believe the projection surrounded him. Could I remorph into something powerful enough to make sure he wasn't a problem? Probably not. There are controllers all over. All I had to do was yell for help. And then a girl came running up, she looked down at me and then Eric. Who's this, the girl asked? His name's Marco, Eric said calmly. You know those Andalite Banished Chapmans I was talking about? The ones who use Andalite morphing technology to carry out a guerrilla war? Of course, he pointed at me. I think this human is one of them. There it was. The end. The end of our existence as Animorphs. We don't know if the Yeerks ever discovered our identities, or even that we were humans, they'd wipe us out in a matter of days. I felt sick with fear of something for the others. I'd blown it. I'd given away our great secrets. Eric jerked his head toward the girl. This is my friend Jenny. I was not pleased to meet her. Heard some people rushing over the bushes. There's nothing over here, Eric called out. Jenny heard her anger. I'll help her. Keep searching. I think I heard something over there. He must notice the extremely shocked and puzzled expression on my face. He grinned. There are more things in heaven and earth than dreamt in your philosophy, Horatio. Shakespeare, said Maze? Yes, Hamlet. I saw the very first performance. But that'd be like centuries ago. He nodded. Do you know where I live? I nod my head still down dirt. Morphin is something small to escape from here. Come see at my house, you and your friends. We all talked about. For some stupid reason I said, you're not human. We know you're an android. And you're not an Andalite bandit. How do I know I can trust you? He shrugged. I could turn you in. I'd be Visifery's new best friend. Even he knows how to reward those who care about what orders well. Maybe you want to catch all of us at once. I don't know why I was arguing with him. Maybe it was the humiliating position I was in. Maybe I felt like I had to act tough on my back in my dirt, wearing unattractive clothing. He squatted down. Marco, if he gave you a visit free, he would get the names of all your friends from you. I know you're a brave person. You'd have to be to do all this. But you're not brave enough to survive his torture. You would tell. I took a couple seconds to think on that. He was right, of course. I had a healthy respect for the kind of torture a visit free could inflict. We'll be there. I guess I don't have a choice. You have us cold. He shook his head. It's not like that. It'll be a meeting of allies, Marco. You see, we fight the Yerks too. After 14, my dad made chicken for dinner that night. I spent the afternoon with my friends debating the mess with Eric. We'd gone round and round, and we knew he'd show up for the meeting. We had no choice, really. Barbecued chicken, skin on mashed potatoes, roasted corn on the cob. It was absolutely high in my father's cooking ability, so I had to eat it. I had to. But man, there's something about popping for the throat of a bird that totally destroys your appetite for dead bird. How is it, he asked. Great, I answered. We're in the back of the backyard. It was a house like a house we lived in long ago when we were a complete family. After my mom's death, that's still how I thought of it. My dad spiraled down a long time. He lost his job, moved out of the house, and ended up living in a pretty terrible apartment on the edge of a bad part of town. It was okay. I mean, having a lot of stuff in a nice house was cool, but it wasn't the being poor that bothered me. It was being alone. My father been off some world of his own for a long time. I've been the one to cook and clean all that. It's nice to have a house and a yard and a barbecue again. But it wasn't about the house. It's just that my dad was my dad again. I know that sounds corny coming from me. This is fine. Another piece? Sure, breast. How am I playing trying to think about exploding crows by having very close to having beetle for lunch? Sometimes my life is just too weird. I questioned asked my father I wanted him to sound natural. He like making normal conversation. So, Dad, what are you doing at work lately? He shrugged and gave me a wink. We're finishing up the observatory project. I still can't figure out what happened there. Some software your friend No accidentally created just sort of disappeared. My friend No was actually axed. There's a long story behind that. You probably asked a friendly neighborhood Andalite about it, but wasn't a story I could tell my father. And we did cover that. That was back in the 8th book, yes. What will you do then to done with the observatory? I said, trying to sound casual. His eyes flickered toward me all suspiciously. He shrugged. A project I can talk about for this company called Matcom. I laughed, trying to sound very casual. Building a better bomb? He didn't answer for a few seconds. A strange voice said, I've never done weapons research. I'm actually surprised. Why not? You gonna eat that chicken or just tease it? He gave me a long look, trying to decide if I was old enough to hear what he was gonna say. I picked up the chicken breast. Chicken wasn't crow after all. He doesn't have to eat crow. It was your mom, he said. I stopped eating. The last year and a half before, it was like this perfect time for us. He smiled at some picture only he could see. We used to fight her now when we were younger, like most couples, but knows that all our problems are gone and settled. Maybe I changed, maybe I had, maybe she had, I don't know. I felt a cold finger on my heart. It was the best time of my life, like if she was saying a perfect peace and love. But at the same time, at times your mom would seem almost upset, like she was struggling with some problem she wouldn't tell me about. I stopped breathing, because I knew. I knew now where the change had been made. The perfect love my father's time was when the Yerk was at work in my mother's head. The Yerk was interested in stupid little domestic battles and wanted peace so it could focus on deeper goals. Anyway, one day I woke up in the middle of the night, your mom was sitting in bed wide awake. I knew she'd have a bad dream or something, but it made the hair on my back stand up. It was just... Here's her said. It was so strange, like she was trapped in a deep well trying to call out to me. There were tears in his eyes. Or rather, tears in my eyes. Hope my father didn't notice. She said, they won't take you if you stay out of the military. It didn't make sense, but the way she said, like it was the hardest thing she ever said, like it was the most important thing she ever said. I had no idea just how hard it been for my mother to say that. Sometimes there's a terrible need of a human being being crushed beneath the earth can force its way out. It can seize control for a few desperate seconds. That's the price of human... They say the price a human host pays is terrible. The Yerk has mental tortures that carry on for weeks. My mother, the real mother, had been stuck when the Yerk was distracted and in a few seconds regained control. Anyway, I know it's just your mother having a bad dream, but ever since whenever opportunity came up for defense work, I just got this bad feeling about it. I couldn't even pretend to eat anymore. Are you thinking of taking a military project now? He avoided my gaze. There are some very exciting things going on in this MatCom, things they want me in as a military, but they do carry on some very secret work. I guess some of what they do is probably military. And there it was. The reason Tom was trying to get my father into sharing. He was working on some project they wanted to control. My mother had warned him. It was maybe the last word she, the real human woman, ever spoke to him. He was going to ignore that warning and now the Yeerks wanted him. Chapter 15. We decide to be with Eric at his house. We decide not to trust him completely. Jake, Cassie, Axe, and I are going to the meeting. Rachel and Tobias stay outside as backup. Rachel's all primed to use her grizzly bear morph call for help. I'll be within range of Axe's thought speed except for the 10th time. I can morph my bear in a minute and go for that door about 10 seconds later. If you do that, try to stop over me in the process, okay? I said. I glanced at myself to buy a suit out of cell in the tree in Eric's yard. I could joke about the fruit was it felt reassuring to Rachel and Tobias were ready to be cavalry. We went to the front door of a very ordinary looking house, then Jacob looked and said, man, I hope we're right about this, but he's busy exchanging solemn glances with Cassie. So, someone knocked on the door. I glanced at Axe's and human morph. His human morph made some DNA bear at the same time from all of us except Tobias. There's some of Jake and Rachel and Cassie and me in Axe's human shape. The result was he was male but almost as pretty as a girl. Plus he's annoying in human morph. Knock on the door? Why? Knock-on. Knock. Axe is on a mouse and he can't get over how fun it is to make sounds. Plus you don't even want them in the same room as certain foods. Jake finally knocked and the door opened. I was surprised it wasn't Eric, it was his father, Mr. King. He nodded. Come in. We stepped inside and I felt completely dorky like you're coming over to ask if he could come out and play. I mean, the house looks so normal inside. Normal furniture, normal lights and dishes displayed in a hunch. A normal TV on mute showing pictures from CNN. There are two dogs, a Labrador mix and a fat little terrier. The lab just rolled on his back. Here came over to sniff our shoes. Is Eric here? He nodded. Yes, would you like a soda or anything? No thanks, Mr. King, Cass said. She went over to scratch behind his terrier's ears. You like dogs? She likes the animal I asked. She likes skunks. But dogs, you like dogs. Cassie smiled. If reincarnation really won't come back as a dog, he smiled and nodded as she said something profound. Would you like to come with me? He turned and led the way toward the kitchen. Once again, I told normalcy he was seen jarring. There were little post-it notes on the refrigerator saying things like dozen eggs, bell peppers. Someone had left a box of Wheaties out on the counter. He opened the door and led down to the basement, falling down narrow wooden steps. At some point I started to wonder. I noticed Axe slowly morphing out of his human shape and turning to animal form a little bit at a time. Good old Axe, he sensed danger and wanted his tail available. I wanted it available too. He paused me out in the basement and watched absolutely surprised as Axe finished transforming away politely for Axe to be done. To my utter amazement, I felt a slight dropping sensation. It was like a few seconds to realize what was happening. The basement was dropping like an elevator. When I looked up, I didn't see a roof overhead, just darkness. Whoa, Cassie commented. Don't be afraid, Mr. King said. It didn't last long. We dropped 4 or 5 floors. That's what it felt like. Then with a slight lurch, the basement elevator stopped. Is this the floor for men's clothing? I asked. I was almost not surprised when one wall of the basement hung with tools and a garden hose and a rake simply disappeared. That's on the wall that was now a hallway lit with golden light. My basement won't do this, I murmured to Jake. Have you ever tried? He asked. This way, Mr. King said. We followed him. It was too late to start worrying now. The hallway wasn't long, just 50 feet or so. We reached a dead end, a blank wall, but then that too vanished. Ah, no way. Strange. This is a hologram, right? But somehow I knew it wasn't. It was real. Unbelievable, but utterly real. Beyond the hallway is a vast chamber with a golden glowing light, soft and buttery warm. I stepped out in the hallway into springy grass, and overhead, maybe 100 feet up, there's a glowing orb like a sun. That's where a yellow light came from. Stretched out before us more than the length of a football field is sort of a park. Trees, grass, streams, water, butterflies flying around jerkily, bees buzzing from flower to flower, squirrels racing up and down trees. Walking here and there are androids in their natural form, machines made of steel and something white. They have mouths almost like muzzles, clumsy legs, and stubby fingers. But when the presence that happens to us of androids was really shocking. Well, what's really shocking was that there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of dogs. Normal, everyday Earth dogs are a breed and half-breed you can imagine, running packs, yipping, yapping, bow-wowing, howling, gruffling, rough-roughing dogs. They're chasing squirrels, smelling each other, generally having a good old dog time. Jake, Cassie, and I stood there with our jaws hanging open like complete idiots. If Axe had possessed a mouth, it would have been hanging open too. It was doggy heaven, dogs and robots in a huge underground park. One of the robots came trying toward us, got near, a hologram shimmered around it. A second later was Eric. Welcome, he said. I guess you're probably a little surprised. Chapter 16. We are the Chi, Eric said. Mr. King left and he brought us to a place beneath a large tree. A little stream trickled by just a few feet away. A wall of sounds had come down as if someone turned down the sound while the barking dogs. I could still hear as if the sound were far away. You are androids, Axe commented. Yes. You show a very high level of technological sophistication, Axe said. He smiled and looked exactly like human lips. We are just a creation. It's our creators who are great builders. Raccoon dogs. Okay, I can see the comparison, actually. Illusions. Dog-like. We are just a creation. It's our creators who are the great builders. Why'd you bring us down here, Jake said. Why show us all this? We want you to trust us, Eric said. We know you're suspicious. You have to be. I'm sure you left some of your people outside just in case to betray you. I want us to be equal. I want you to show our secret since we know yours. We saw you at the concert, started to say. He looked surprised and lied. Ah, yes, you were 2 dogs, weren't you? I said something odd about you. Tell me, what's it like to actually be a dog? It's truly cool, Jake said. You knew we were the 2 dogs? He shook his head. We didn't know, but I felt something strange. We know there are more capable forces on Earth. There's very little Yeerks know we don't also know. You're getting out flyers to share and you're a meeting for them, I accused. True, but maybe I should tell you our story, then you'll understand who we are, and why we're your allies, and also why we, or at least some of us, would like your help. That'd be nice, Cassie said. You have to say one thing for Eric, you know how to tell a story. Suddenly everything around us dissolved and its place grew a vast three-dimensional picture as real as Eric. We are no longer on Earth. There are 2 suns in the sky, one small and red. They are 4 times as big as Earth's sun and a deeper gold. The trees and flowers and grasses were definitely not anything that ever grown on Earth. The trunks of the trees are green and smooth, but instead of leaves, the branches just kept splitting into ever smaller branches and twigs that grew gradually from green to silver to a shade of pink. The pink twigs are all intertwined. For a distance, the trees like huge balls of pink steel wool. The trees are no larger than our trees, it seems, but they are huge for the mushrooms. At least they look kind of like them. They're half as large as the tree themselves. A messy nest made of some leathery, leaping, three-dimensional animals seemed to be perched on each one. There were animals around each stranger in the last, but the main creature we saw, the 2-legged creature, might have been 4 feet tall. It had long, floppy ears and a muzzle. It looked really like a dog that could walk on hind legs. It looked in fact a little like Eric when he dropped a hologram to show his true self. Our creators, Eric said. They are known as the Palmolites. 100,000 years before Andalites learned to make fire, but they were capable of faster and light travel. I noticed Axe's tail twitch a little at that. And of course, humans are just hairy apes when they first visited Earth. The Palmolites were not interested in conquest and interfering in the lives of our planets. They enjoyed life. He smiled. They loved to play. They loved jokes and games and laughter. When they had a fully evolved race for so long that all the harsher instincts were gone from them, they had no evil in their hearts, no evil in their souls. I found this hard to believe as I watched the hologram around me. It's possible that this weird planet the Palmolites had found some deep inner peace. There's a sense of deep calm around the place, all those little Zen gardens or something. Felt peaceful, but not dead or tired or boring. In fact, I looked at how he's jumping around, chasing, playing, making odd chuck sounds that must have been laughter. The scene around me changed like a movie doing a flash forward, and now mingled in with the Palmolites were androids like Eric. They looked vaguely like their canine creators. We were toys originally, they made us to play with, and called us the Chi. It's a word that means friend. They also had work for us to do. They mostly had us be their companions, an artificial race, but not one of slaves. He looked at us and I swore there were tears in his holographic eyes. We were their friends and equals and companions. They taught us to laugh and play, and they loved it when we were able to create androids who could tell a joke. There was a celebration that lasted a year, and then, bzzz, I jerked back. A monstrous beam of light sliced the ground right in front of us like an insane plow tearing up the earth, and staring at the pink trees and huge mushrooms. And then the Howlers came, Eric explained. They suddenly popped out of zero space, thousands of powerful ships. They come from clear out of this galaxy. The Palmolites had no idea who they were, and they never found out what they wanted. They made demands and just attacked. Maybe that's all they wanted, just to destroy. He showed us the next one of those horrifying films on World War II. Palmolites hunted from the air. Palmolite space stations blown apart. Ships sliced open, helpless Palmolites left to drift through cold, dead space. The scenes of massacre just went on. I noticed Cassie was crying, and I think I was too. It was just too horrible. Almost the entire race of Palmolites is wiped out, Eric said. A few hundred Chi and a few hundred Palmolites left the planet, escaping in a single ship just seconds ahead of the next wave of attacks. We escaped into zero space. We had no plan, no idea what to do. Why didn't you fight back at them? I mean, you talk about how advanced they were. If they can create androids, they can make weapons. He looked at me and nodded like he agreed. The Palmolites had forgotten the ways of conflict and war. They were creatures of peace. They had forgotten there was such a thing as pure evil. The answer just frustrated me. It made no sense, but I let him tell the rest of his grim story. As we ran for our lives through zero space, we discovered the Howlers had achieved a special revenge. Palmolites were becoming sick. They began to die. They had unleashed germ weapons. They were doomed, but we, the Chi, the androids, were unaffected. The sea rise from the inside of a spaceship. The sea of Chi looking on helplessly while one of their creators writhed in pain. Then we remembered a planet. One sun had roamed but very far from home in the Howlers. It had only one sun, the light was pale. But there were trees and grass and oceans. Earth, Cassie said. Earth, Eric said. The Palmolites did not visit Earth in 50,000 years, and at that time everything had changed. The wandering tribes of planets had created cities and domesticated animals. They were planting crops. When he landed on Earth with just 6 Palmolites still clinging to life, the hologram disappeared in the underground caverns back to its normal self, a wide park of earth, trees, and plants with dogs everywhere. We could not save the Palmolites, and they would die. But we could try and rescue some part of them. We hope to keep their hearts, their souls alive somehow. We look for an earth species to harbor their essence of the Palmolites, their decency and kindness and playfulness and love. Wolves, Cassie said, once again way ahead of me. He was surprised by not his projected human head. Yes, they're almost exactly like Palmolites themselves, so you grab the essence of Palmolites in the wolf species, and from that, dogs are created. And to this day, most dogs carry them in the essence of Palmolites. Not all, but most. Wherever you see a dog playing, chasing a stick, running around barking for sheer joy, you see remnants of the race of the Palmolites. That's why all the dogs are here, so they're your, what, friends? Creators? They're our joy, Eric said. Because they remind us of a world without evil. The world we lost. We cheer all that's left of the Palmolites' technological genius. And the dogs of Earth is all that's left of their souls.